Hello! Today I'm going to be doing the Disney book tag. Let's begin. Question 1, The Little Mermaid. Name a character who is out of their element. I'm going to go for Sam Vimes from Night Watch by Terry Pratchett. In many ways, Sam Vimes is in his element in this book. He's gone back in time to when he was a young police officer. However, he's gone back to a very brutal time, and even though he lived through that time before, he doesn't have the facilities he is used to, he doesn't have the friends he's made, and he's also seeing himself from the third person because his younger self is there with him. Question 2, Cinderella. Name a character who goes through a major transformation. For me, this is Clariel in Clariel by Garth Nix. This is a sort of prequel to the Abhorsen trilogy, also by Garth Nix. As the protagonist of the book, she starts out good. It's very interesting because you, as the reader, can totally see where she's coming from at every opportunity, and you can understand her motives throughout the book. When she starts to turn a little bit evil, you don't really see it, and it's only later on when you actually start to think about it, you go, she's come a long way. If you've read the Abhorsen trilogy, you know she ends up as a villain. Question 3, Snow White. A book with an eclectic cast of characters. I've gone for A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. This isn't all of them, but there's loads, so I've just got the first 4 I could find. The characters in A Series of Unfortunate Events tend to have 1 or 2 character traits so that they're easily identifiable. This is perhaps oversimplistic, but you get a very wide range of characters. What's quite interesting about this book series is the moral ambiguity of each character. Even though the book talks about heroes and villains, the morality of each character is not at all simplified. It explores the morality of not only action but inaction, and whether, if someone detaches themselves from a situation, whether they're making a good choice or a bad choice. Question 4, Sleeping Beauty. A book that puts you to sleep. I've gone for The Dragon Reborn, book 3 of the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. Now, I'm really enjoying this series. I'm on book 6 at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. It's crazy. But somewhere between book 3 and book 4 I kind of got a bit bored. Even though there was great character development and a lot of plot decisions being made, I was finding it very hard to keep reading the book. Luckily it really picked up and now I'm like into it. Question 5, The Lion King. Name a character who has had something traumatic happen to them in their childhood. I've gone for Liesel from The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. I was kind of daunted by this book at first, but I really fell in love with it. The characters are all very excellently crafted, and the main trope of the book, the fact that it's written from the point of view of death, you kind of forget after a while because you're so engrossed with the story and the setting, which is really ambitious. Liesel, the protagonist of the story, is unbelievably well written. At an early age her brother dies in her arms, and she's left with a foster family as her mother and father are on the run from the Nazis because they're communists. It's a really heavy book. Her past haunts her throughout the book, and it's actually her nightmares of the event that make her want to read. And then she starts stealing books, hence the name Book Thief. Question 6, Beauty and the Beast. A beast of a book you were intimidated by, but you found the story beautiful. I know you should never use the same book twice in a book tag challenge, but I'm kind of gonna. The Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. There are 14 books in this series. I just looked at my phone, actually there are 15 books in this series. Oh my god. I'm on book 6 and it is a slog. I've been reading these books for a year and a half. I took a break halfway through and read a few other books, but it's still taking me a long time. And I'm less than halfway through, and it's incredible. Like, it's so well crafted. The world building is incredible. Like, J.R.R. Tolkien is the king of world building, but he just couldn't do it properly. Like, he would just give you all the information, like, there, make use of that. Robert Jordan makes the world building part of the story. You find out things about the history of the world that you're in, and the motivations of different characters as you go along. And because it's such a big series, he can really experiment and expand with what he wants to, and it's great, it's glorious, but so big. Question, I've lost count. Aladdin. Name a character who gets their wish granted for better or for worse. I've gone for Quentin from Paper Towns. No, I haven't seen the film, I really want to. Quentin, the main character of this book, is in love with a girl called Margot. I don't want to spoil the ending for you, so I'll just say that throughout the book he discovers quite a lot about Margot and thinks he knows her, but he really doesn't. Like, it's the thing where you think you know someone quite well because you know things about them, but you don't actually know them. And it perfectly captures that piece of adolescence, where you're only starting to realise what love is. And I'm not saying he gets it wrong, because he does love her, but I think in those formative years, love can kind of not be what it is in later years. The emotion or the feeling of love can kind of change, I guess. And Quentin's really at the very start of the journey that will take him throughout his whole life. So I looked it up, I'm on question 8. Question 8, Mulan. Name a character who pretends to be something or someone that they are not. I've gone for Darrow from Red Rising and Golden Sun. I really do not want to spoil this book for you. The main plot in itself is kind of a revelation, and I don't really want to tell you what it's about. All I'll say is that the main character, Darrow, goes through one hell of a transformation. His inner monologue stays kind of the same all the way through, and it's amazing how his personality kind of doesn't change, but his actions do, and his morality does. Such a good book. Question 9, Toy Story. I totally disagree with Toy Story being part of Disney. You're like, yeah, they bought it, but if they think it belongs to them. Name a book with characters that you wish would come alive. Of course, it's got to be The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I love The Hobbit so much. I could talk for days about The Hobbit. Like, it's the pinnacle of everything. And I would really like those characters to come alive, because hobbits are great, and I think I kind of am one, except I'm about 6 foot tall. Actually, I'm 5'11.5", and I hate that. And Gandalf, like, the Gandalf in this book is so different from the Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. Like, he's playful, and he's funny, and I really just want him to knock on my door and say, hey, let's have a party. Question 10, Disney Descendants. I don't know what that is. Who is your favourite villain or morally ambiguous character? Now, normally there's one answer to who is your favourite villain. The Joker. It's always the Joker. Like, it is always the Joker. But instead of talking about the Joker, I wanted to talk about another villain who I think you will be really interested in. Jesse's Grandmother from Preacher by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. It's kind of an argument that the best villains come from comic books, but I don't want to get into that flame war. So I wanted to talk about this villain because she's really evil. And for a series of comic books with a supernatural bent, it's kind of weird that she is not supernatural in any way. Like, that is her. And yeah, she's old and wrinkled and horrible, but she just looks so evil, and she is. But she's just hideous and horrible, and when I was reading this I couldn't put it down just because she was so captivating as a character. And that's the end of the Disney Book Tag. Thank you very much for watching. You can leave a comment or subscribe down below. I'm getting a phone call. Thank you very much for watching.